Chattanooga. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Katie Cassidy and John Wesley Shipp. You know that keep going, Bill.
Hello. Oh, hello. Hello.
Have a seat, guys.
We're singing a duet now. No, I promise.
Thank you for jumping over here with us. Before I begin, so Katie, this morning I started following your cat on Instagram. If everybody opens up their phone and goes to you can call me Carlos.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
I love that you're bringing this up actually because I've been writing a children's book told from my cat Carlos,
yes,
from his point of view. And I've actually finally, I've written it and I'm like, okay, now what? Oh, right, publisher, next. Need to find a publisher. Just found a publisher and
yeah,
it's all actually happening. So Carlos has an anti-bullying book for children about a cat who lives in Los Angeles and goes from rags to riches after his mother, the big white van comes down the street and he ends up, his sisters and brothers are not as nice to him because he has was born with weird patchy hair. So they're a little mean to him after the mom gets taken.
Yeah.
So he goes and sets out on his own and goes, through Hollywood and all the iconic locations and ends up in the bag of a celebrity.
That's cool.
Look at you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's very sweet. Yes, not that you guys all came here to hear that, but
Can we get on pre-order on Amazon right now?
It'll be out by Christmas.
Okay.
The Adventures of Carlos the Cat.
I love it, and it's anti-bullying. It's perfect. What could be more
Yeah, exactly.
appropriate and timely?
Yeah, do we see Carlos partying at the Sunset Marquis Hotel or the Chateau Marmont?
Yes, you see them at the Ivy, they go to Rodeo Drive, they go shopping.
Hey, I want to know Carlos.
You should see Carlos. He's a wild looking cat and the sweet, he's not even a cat, he's like from a different universe.
Next, Carlos and John.
Yeah,
that'd be a good
that's
book.
great. He goes to a convention, gets lost in the convention. I love that. That's the sequel.
Have you brought Carlos to a convention? I know Carlos also has his own cat carrier, correct?
Yes.
One of those ones with the big bubbles in the back and it's real stylish.
Oh, I thought you meant a person.
Yeah, hey,
assigned to Carlos.
like a handler?
It's hilarious. I literally will go to the airport. By the way, no one gives a shit about me. They're like, when he's in this space backpack, he also is like a crazy looking cat. He's all white, these huge blue eyes. And in this sequel, actually, they go international. So he goes traveling to Paris. And then, again, now I'm like Comic-Con. Maybe the third book, he'll go to Comic-Con. Sorry. We're going off on so many different
listen, I have a French bulldog, Sophia, and when I take her on a walk in my neighborhood, nobody says hi to me. They're like, Sophia! She loves to go to the basketball court and chase the balls, try to good boy for the guys that are playing. Yeah. They all know Sophia. They come on in. Nobody speaks to me.
Yeah, they stop me at the airport and try to take pictures. I'm like, they're like, no, if you're back, you're cat, you're back. We love this traveling backpack. So yes, the book will come with the backpack because the backpack's in the book.
That's a crossover.
Yeah.
I just like what we're talking about. Yeah.
That's a nice segue.
Not just a pretty face here.
That's amazing. I have a small history with both of you. I know we just met here, but I was on a TV show called Comic Book Men. So we're ramping up for our 6th season, and I remember our showrunner comes over. He's like, "Hey, so I think we're gonna try to get Katie Cassidy on the show." I was like, holy crap, the Katie Cassidy, Black Canary from Arrow? It's awesome, and it almost worked out. And I think
so what happened?
There was a scheduling conflict. You're very busy, and I was very bummed out.
Oh, that's too bad. That would have been so fun.
It would have been, it would have been. We were looking for a strong female badass who had who had a foothold in the world of pop culture comics. And your name, I mean, if you Google that, strong badass female comics, like you come right up. So.
With a cat named Carlos.
Yes, with
it just all comes back to Carlos.
Yeah, so for anybody, in an alternate universe, Katie Cassidy debuts on season 6 of Comic Book Men. So
on Earth 12.
Yeah, we go to Earth 212 or
How
Earth 2.
many Earths have you been to?
Oh Oh my God. Well, the one that was destroyed was Earth 90. So I was Jay Garrick, Earth 2. I went over to Earth 3. Then I went over to Stargirl as Jay Garrick. I played 4 different characters on 5 different shows on 3 different networks across 34 years in one franchise.
Oh my God. It's been holy
and that's really something because the last scene of Flash 1991, Mark Hamill and I are in Southeast Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We're fighting the sun coming up one more time, because we're always shooting all night long. We get the last scene of the series in the can. I ripped the wings off, threw them in the air, and swore I would never get into another superhero film as long as I did. So
didn't you work with my father? I heard you say my father.
Yes, he was our mirror master.
Mirror master.
The mirror master. He's the one. No, this was before we had all the CGI. One of his tricks was I'm chasing him, he throws a mirror down, and the gag is I'm covered in snakes. Now these were not CGI snakes. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna do this? Here comes the snake handler with 2 garbage bags full of snakes.
Wait, real snakes?
Real snakes. And starts draping the snakes around my neck, around the Danny Wilson, who I'm sure you know, the executive producer, he had to leave. My makeup artist, she fainted, Lana, poor Lana. And I'm standing there going, and then, at one point I have glasses on, and the snake comes over my head, and I can see the tongue, and it's pushing the glasses off my head.
Yeah.
And I have to go, snakes! I have no problem at all doing that. I said, now if I yell snakes, are they gonna bite me? They said, no, you're cool, you're cool.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
It's really traumatizing.
We had quite a few traumatizing moments
Yeah.
on the first one. I call it
That's
Flash
so
1.0.
I love that you worked with my father.
Yeah, I mean, you guys got pretty elaborate on that show, blowing stuff on, was it Hollywood Boulevard for the first episode?
Yeah, well, it was the first Gulf War when we started shooting the series.
Right.
And if we were going to blow something up and shoot flames 35 feet in the air, we really had to do it. So I remember this one particular night, we're in an alley off of Hollywood Boulevard, and we blew up this car, and we blew the windows out.
Yes.
And all these calls went to 911 because they thought it was an attack.
Right.
It was, that part wasn't fun.
Right.
But,
It's like, no, we're not being attacked. It's just the fastest.
No, we are not a terrorist attack. We are a comic book show.
Right. So we're saving people.
Right.
We're saving people. That's amazing. And we've known each other. I met you in 2013 at Terrificon in Connecticut. And I remember I was a big honor to meet you. I was like, holy crap, John Wesley, Shipp from Flash from the 90s. And we were just there kind of figuring out where our lives were going to go.
Yeah.
After that, and then shortly after, they went in a very, very good direction.
Really? I had no idea. I never expected in 1990 that I'd revisit the franchise, or that I would be friends with the mayor of Comic-Con.
Me?
Me,
I don't
yes.
Yes. I think much like both of you, I just go where they tell me. And then I try to have a good time while I'm there.
But then don't we all? No, probably not. We don't all. Who doesn't go where they tell you to? I want to meet you people, okay? We'll meet afterwards, okay?
It is really fun, and it's cool to get to meet the fans and spend time with you guys, the people who, watch our shows and support our shows, and everybody loves superheroes, so I geek out myself too sometimes while I'm here. It's fun.
It's an amazing experience. I always say, I started doing Comic-Cons in 2006 when the original Flash came out on DVD.
Yeah.
And there was an attitude in those days where actors almost felt, it seemed to me like the actors felt like they had to stay separate, that you had to keep a distance.
Right.
That you couldn't, I remember going to, I'm trying to make this quick,
we're doing. I love it. Tell the story, my friend.
To a benefit dinner given by a boys' home. And we were all to attend. It was one of the things we agreed to do. So we walk in, and there are all these donors sitting at tables around the room. Then there's a podium, and there's a long table, and we're all at the Last Supper, lined up at the long table with a rope, and everybody's eating on there. Here are the boys serving food. we're all miserable. I look around and everyone is miserable.
Yeah.
I said, screw this. I went over the rope,
Yeah.
you know. And I just sat at different people's tables and
and talked to
I got some angry looks, you know. I hope that we have to work a little bit harder than that now, you know, because you deserve more from us than...
Thanks, buddy.
Exactly. That's, you know, we all share a genuine camaraderie here.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see everyone and get to see faces and meet people more than once. So you start to sometimes even recognize people, I think, you know, going to these conventions. So thank you for having us here. So we like it just as much as you guys do.
Love watching you guys interact. And that's also to say there'll be other tables all weekend, so definitely go and say hello. And you guys got great 8x10s as well, so yeah, pick up one of those for sure. Ivan, did you have a question? Do you guys know Ivan?
Yes, Ivan, hi.
Hi.
Is a powerhouse. Ivan is the man. Ivan probably goes to more conventions than I do.
Nobody goes to more conventions.
Also great at interviewing people.
I like listening to music and painting.
What are I like painting too. I like drawing. I like writing. I like working out sometimes.
Clearly you like working out a lot.
Yes, but
Pretty
sometimes
obvious.
it's like,
Am I allowed to say that? Am I going to be reported to HR?
No,
don't worry.
I just said it too, so we're good.
You're good. What are your hobbies?
I can't paint the broadside of a barn. I have no artistic ability in that area. Most of what I like about being an actor is most of what I enjoy doing, going to the theater, going to movies, going to plays. So everything that I do touches on my life as an actor. You know, I'm no fun really to watch movies or television with because I'll see somebody do something really brilliant and I have to, I gotta go back. I gotta watch it again. We've got 5 people in the scene. I gotta watch it once looking at only that person. I gotta watch it again, only looking at that person, and on down the line to try to figure out what made it work. You know, when something works, things so rarely are perfect, may I use the B word, and when it happens, I'm like fascinated.
Yeah.
I want to know why and how.
Yeah, you know who else has that kind of mindset? Directors, my friend.
I was just gonna say, have you thought about directing? Because I went through the Warner Brothers Directors Program. I started directing. I'm actually about to direct my first feature, but I can't say what it is.
I'm an unemployed actor, right
Oh,
here.
great!
Just so you know.
How's your Russian accent?
No. Oh, I can come up with one very quickly. I did a South Wales accent on Broadway in Dancing at Lunasa, so I'm reporting for duty.
Okay, great. I love to hear that.
And are there any?
But also, you sound. That's what I was gonna say. Like, have you considered directing? Because
You know, I have what they call directing. I called it working with a young cast and showing them that acting was not what they thought it was. You know, there was small projects in North Carolina after Dawson's Creek. It was a couple episodes of a series and nothing anybody will ever see. But what I enjoyed about it was igniting the interior process. In other words, so many actors think, okay, the character's over here. I gotta squeeze myself through a tube to get over here to where the character is. When in truth, it's about finding the parts of the character that are within you. So whatever you bring into the room, you're exactly where you're supposed to be for that character, for that scene. That was a big lesson for me to learn. And we do repetition exercises, we do sense memory, I'd have them say lines and just physically run into each other and laugh, and whatever the impulse was, just let it go. And I'd say, okay, drop all that, and now look at each other and say the words. And you'd see the light go on. And it is such an exciting thing when people forget about, I'm supposed to be this, you know, and go, oh, I'm just talking to you. The scenes with me and Grant in the prison are some of my favorite. But our homework was done. I had been the Flash, he knew I was the Flash, he was taking on the iconic role, I knew what some of his hopes, fears, dreams, insecurities might be. And so all we had to do was learn the lines, look at each other, make a connection, and tell the truth. And for me, that's acting in its purest form. But, you know, do I care whether this pole is here or here for the shot? Not really.
No.
I'm not
I
direct.
love that. It's all also like active listening. I think being present in the scene and then actually knowing your character inside and out, done the backstory, and then letting go, being in the moment, and hopefully you've been able to memorize the lines, and it just comes out like a conversation, and that's also with the writing is good. It should just come out seamlessly.
I remember once Grant, he'd been working, I don't know how long, you know. The good thing about the new show was the kids did the heavy lifting. I got to come in and do some really good scenes, but one time he was supposed to break down, he's visiting me in the prison, he came, I could see he was beat. He said, John, I just don't think there are going to be any waterworks today. I'm so exhausted. I said, there's the last thing that you should be thinking about.
Exactly.
Let's do what we always do. Do you know your lines? Yeah, I know my lines. Let's don't rehearse. Let's walk in, pick up the phones, take as much time as we need to make a connection, and then start speaking the words to each other. When the time came, the floodgates opened, baby. Grant is a good crier, isn't he?
Yeah, incredible. It's, instead of, thinking those other thoughts, which as actors, I'm sure at some point you did, I certainly have, sometimes you get in your own way at times and you're like, oh shit, I have to cry. Instead of, oh shit, I was freaked out because I have to cry or this pressure or whatever. It's then I remind myself of, what am I doing? I need to be thinking my character, what is my character's thoughts. And then again, let go and trust and connect with the other actor, and hopefully they're not just one of those actors who's waiting for their cue line.
Oh my God.
With their cue word, and I can't, sorry. So I love that. I love this. Watch when I announce, and baby, you're gonna be in my movie if I can afford you.
I'm tap dancing. As fast as I can.
I think it works for moon pies, so we got plenty of those here. You've fallen hardcore into directing. What inspired this? How long have you been doing it? You have a very cool short out on YouTube right now that you directed over the pandemic. But can you talk about directing? I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah. Well, I've been acting my whole life, and I'm constantly in class. Even now, I will go back to acting class probably forever. Exercise, keep that muscle moving. And I also am a very visual person. And I shadowed a bunch of directors, and I guess I was just curious about what it was like on the other side of the camera. And I also felt like, okay, I want to learn about directing. I want to learn about writing. I want to learn about producing, because if you're good at all of those, if you know what is happening around you also, it's only going to benefit me more as an actor. And so I think it was Arrow season 1. I shadowed one episode, and then I kind of think it was just too much with working all the time, and then to shadow. Yeah. So then I waited until it was season 6. I started shadowing James Bamford, who was our stunt coordinator turned director EP. I shadowed him a bunch. He's like my mentor. And then I expressed to Ray Berlanti that I wanted to direct an episode, and so 803, he was like, great, I need you to keep shadowing.
Yeah.
But all I wanted to do was shadow, because I was like, I need this to be, I wanted it to be great.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it. There are things I've learned. But I went through the Warner Brothers Directors Program, which is amazing, with these 12 other creative, beautiful individuals. And it was like a whole new world. I was like, wait a second. You're telling me you're giving me a sandbox and I get to build the castle?
Yeah.
Put it in place as long as I stay within the aesthetic of it. Like I can, and then it's features, especially independent features. It's a whole, I get to put all the pieces together, and it's just this like beautiful state and I was just like, I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I had this, it brings me so much joy. And I did write and direct a short, America's Next Best President.
Yeah, very timely right now. Definitely check it out, it's on YouTube.
As a spoof on American politics, I told him the game show.
Carlos the Cat is in it.
Oh yes, he is.
Big star.
Oh my God. He's a bigger star than me.
Well, you should see this cat. There's a reason.
You'll see. I'll show you
This cat is very
when I have my
photogenic.
phone. I don't have it right now.
Yeah, definitely check it out. There's a mic here. I'm not hogging all these questions, so if anybody right into the mic, please just line up and take your opportunity
Did
to
Ivan have
ask
any
a
more
question.
questions? We kind of
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay,
All right, you get the next one.
thank you.
Please go ahead.
Hi, I know we're here to talk about the Arrowverse, and I love The Flash, and I loved Arrow, but one of my favorite shows was Supernatural, and I just loved seeing you as Ruby Katie, and I was sad when the character came back and it wasn't you. But I wanted to know if you could share a little bit about your experience with the boys, and I understand Jared's quite the prankster, and if you ever prank.
Yes, he is. Thank you for that. That's so sweet. I had a great time on that show. It was my first series regular on, first time on a series, and I'm gonna be series regular. And, I was very nervous. But so much so that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be so overly prepared, and I'm just, I took it very seriously. So I get to set the first day, and, don't take my sides with me. I keep, I'm like in it. And Jared and Jensen are lovely. I love them, but also they're like brothers of mine. I feel like sometimes I just wanted to strangle them because they would literally be off camera, like making funny faces at me or farting noises, and I couldn't help but sometimes start laughing. And they were like, "Well, we had to break you. We had to break you. You were so serious, and like we appreciate you so much because you're so prepared. But hey, it's okay to you can loosen up a little, kid." I had a really good time with them. That was so much fun. Unfortunately, for political reasons, going into season 4, they were not able to work out a deal. So sadly, somebody else came in. But I think they got married, so that's good for them. I'm glad. Yeah. Great. But yeah, it was a really fun time. I hope I answered your question.
My name is Noah, and I love the Arrow and also the Flash, and also Supergirl and the Legends. Is there a favorite crossover that you two like?
Yes. I liked actually going to the Flash. I think I only have one scene with. No. Carlos. I think it was Carlos. I think I told him I was a Black Canary. Yeah. I think it was season 1 of Flash, maybe, or 2. I'm not sure. I loved it.
It has to be season 1.
My
Yes.
favorite crossover was, of course, when I thought they were out of their minds. They said I was getting a new suit, and I was Jay Garrick at this point, and I thought, oh great, Jay's getting a new suit, and then I saw the sketches. And they were sketches of the suit from the 1990 series. And I'm like, wait a minute, what suit are we talking about here? And they said, oh, we want you to come back as Flash 90. I said, that was 26 years ago, right? And they're like, oh, you'll be fine. So they brought me back for Elseworlds. And I figured they had a plan. They wouldn't randomly bring me back because they're not those kinds of writers. The end of that season, final card is, coming next fall, Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I went, that's why they brought me back. A Flash must die in Crisis. Well, they can't kill Grant Gustin and have no show. But I have to tell you, the way and it was actually on Arrow, the Crisis where Flash 90 sacrifices himself. I steal Grant's speed. My Earth is destroyed. Find out I married Tina and she's gone, so this is my sacrifice to make. And I get on the cosmic treadmill and I save whatever for a minute. And then, as it turns out, it's not forever, but for a minute. But it wrapped up my 1990 show. And it's the only instance, when I watch things, I'm always thinking, that it happened. I wish that I can watch that part of Crisis and go, I would not change a thing. I got to welcome Black Canary into the group, you know, as he appears by the cosmic treadmill. It was just a terrific experience.
Oh, I see.
Great question. What's going through your head when you see that old costume? It's like, wait a minute.
Well, they sent one up. They actually had one in the Warner Archives, and they set it up in what looked like a coffin. And you know, I sweated through these suits so bad, so it's like, you know, this grizzled thing. I don't know how they're gonna do. And I know it's the last one I wore because the wings are missing. And they looked at it for 2 seconds, and then they completely redesigned it, more breathable materials, not glue it to my face.
Right.
I could zip it, whip the cowl forward, and let the steam out in between takes. So
it's great when a budget can get you, like a
Yeah.
more comfortable costume.
And we would hope that a quarter of a century later there would be improvements, right?
Right. All right, so you weren't dying in this one. Okay.
It's so funny when you say that. You were like, you knew that they had bigger plans. When we were started Arrow, we did the pilot, and then sure enough, you know, I don't remember what episode, forgive me, it was a long time ago, season 1, but Grant starts on our show. The Flash was on our show, and then Danielle Panabaker, and who I've known forever, and I also was like, oh, do you want to be roommates?
Yeah.
She was like, yes. So we actually were roommates for a while. But they were just those one-off episodes. I think it was just one episode they were in. And I said to Andrew in a meeting, I was like, you guys have so many more plans than just Arrow, don't you? And he was like, what do you know? And I was like, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know anything. This is just like my spidey senses. Maybe I'm a little clairvoyant. I don't know, but I can tell you guys got bigger plans than just Arrow. There you
and
go.
You were right. You were beyond right.
Well, if they didn't do that, they, you know, lost this incredible opportunity
Yeah,
we
for
all
sure.
had.
Yeah.
And when I saw Grant, because I knew I'd be working with him at that point as his father, that Jeff Johns had blown up the Allen family, and suddenly Henry was in Iron Heights prison for 14 years, wrongfully convicted of killing Nora in front of his 10-year-old son. Emmett Walsh, my father in my Flash, Emmett Walsh, did not kill my mother in front of a 10-year-old me, I'm happy to report. But when I found out,
dark.
When I found out, I thought, if they come to me, that's the role I wanted. So when that happened, I watched that episode of Arrow, and the thing I loved about Grant was what I was talking about before. I couldn't see the acting. I couldn't see the scenes. All I saw was truth. All I saw was truth of the moment, and I was like, oh yeah, I could work with
It's
this.
like jumping, like letting that moment when you let go of the trapeze when you're flying through the air. That moment through when you're flying through the air is like those are the moments I live for as an actor. They're scary, but it's liberating. But yeah.
Well said. Ivan, do you have another one? Okay. All right, Mr. Fantastic, you are up next.
First of all, welcome to Chattanooga, Maine. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is for Mr. Shipp. You were my first Flash back in the day. And so when you showed up on the new version of Flash, I freaked out. And my son and I would watch all the shows, so he's like, what you freaking out? He's like, that's my Flash. Grant Gustin is your Flash, he's my Flash. So I got 2 questions. What was your reaction when they first called you and wanted you to come back to be a Flash? And then how hard was it to keep track of, okay, I'm playing his dad, I'm playing Jacob, I'm playing Flash from this world. How hard was that to keep track of who you were playing?
Well, it wasn't hard. That's what we do. Talk about our sandbox.
Yeah.
And they kept it interesting. It was 9 seasons. That can get very boring. But they kept it very interesting. The Henry Barry scenes in the prison are some of the most beautifully written scenes I've ever done. and for reasons I've explained, passing the father-son blessing, the most meaningful. What was strange was in the last episode, second to the last episode of that season, Henry gets killed. At the beginning of the finale, he is revealed, the man in the iron mask is revealed as Barry's father's doppelganger, who turns out to be the real Jay Garrick, which is the character the audience wanted me to play to begin with. And when Greg told me that story, I was like, yes, I'll do it. That's just amazing. But the thing was, Henry was always the warm shoulder for Barry to put his head on, right? Henry was very loving, just holding up a mirror to Barry, as John tried to do to Grant, to show him all the wonderful things that I see in him and I know about him. You know what I mean? So that when I snatch him out of the Speed Force, and I'm like, okay, who are you? Who is this kid? Are you gonna screw up the Speed Force every time you have a fight with your girlfriend? Yeah, I look like your dead dad. Sorry about that, but here's the deal. What kind of superhero are you gonna be? Suddenly, he's getting this energy. We were running lines, and Grant just put his head down and started laughing. I said, what are you laughing at, man? He said, it's so weird. I don't even know you. It's like this energy, assaultive energy. So that was really fun. And then I liked, it was very funny. Mark Guggenheim said in an interview, not to me, that when I put on the 1990 Flash suit, suddenly I started moving and talking like I did in 1990. You know, our costumes can do that, can form a large part of our characters. So it was just fun. It was just, I was nervous because so many years later, I didn't know how people would react. This is their show. I'm gonna walk in as 1990 Flash and, you know, how are people, what time is lunch? You know, I mean, it's like, but I walked in and all these cast members from the different shows were there and they started applauding and Grant said, this is the coolest thing we've ever done, you know? Or when I showed up as Jay Garrick, I look over here and Candace Patton is going, and Grant pulls the camera up to turn the monitor around and to say, see how good you look, because they knew I was all nervous to come back and play a superhero with actors half my age, 26 years after the fact. But yeah, that was really something.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great question. Great answer. Thank you.
What movie or TV character are you most like?
Good question.
Well, yes, very much so, Laurel Lance. Yeah, well, I mean, there's just so much, I care a lot about everything I do. And there's a lot of myself in her. Not just because we're at this convention and you asked me that genuinely is out of any character I've ever played. But definitely Laurel.
I've played superheroes and psychopaths. I've made a career of that over 45 years as a professional actor. And I hope I'm more like Mitch Leary, smarter than Mitch Leary, who's a very loving dad, but he wasn't the brightest bulb in the tree, let's be serious. Very, very loving to Dawson. Henry Allen was almost too good to be true. I hope I'm more like them than I am like Mr. Leahy on Teen Wolf, this psychotic, horrible father to Isaac, you know, who mercifully gets killed at the end. The reviews came out and they said, okay, for fans of Dawson's Creek and The Flash, get ready, this character leaves no room but to hate him. So I hope that's not the real me. I watch it and go, okay, that's fine, now put that back in the box, you know? Yeah. I love your answer though, because it's so true. Someone said, to an actor, not me. I wish I'd said it. What's been your favorite part? And they said that's like trying to pick a favorite child.
Thank you, Ivan. Come on up.
First off, Nick, awesome seeing you again.
Good to see you, my friend.
You too. But this question is to both of you. Both of you were in a very similar situation during the run of the Arrowverse, where you had to step into a similar yet different version of character that you played beforehand. You with that transition from Moral Lands to Dino Moral Lands, and you with the various different versions of Jake Garrett that they were juggling around. Was that sort of like transition easy or difficult, or did you find it to be a fun challenge?
That's a great question. I think what you're referring to is when I Earth 2 Laurel and the Black Siren,
Yep.
which thanks to the Flash and Andrew. So great question. Now I started to think about when I went to the Flash. Yes, Black Siren. I looked at it like this. I gave her a very different and much darker backstory. And I approached her sort of in a way, I kind of played against the words on the page, but in a way that internally worked with the backstory that I had created. It did get really confusing though when I would have scenes with Paul Blackthorne, who played my father, because we had that same sort of connection. It sounds like that you and Grant had as actors. So like when we went before the pilot, Paul and I sat down for hours, and we did this throughout the show. But when we first met, I said, I'd like to sit down and like talk about my childhood and like what our life was like growing up, and let's create this backstory together because we're gonna be here for a while, and you know, we had a similar craft. So that it got challenging though when I had created this backstory that Black Siren lost her father. I mean, because her father was burned alive and she witnessed, this is when I had to know where it was going. I needed some substance. But yeah, and it was challenging at times, but really cool, because it's like playing two characters at once. What about you?
Well, it's like I said, being Barry Allen made me a better Henry Allen. Being Barry and Henry, and also being Professor Zoom and Batman the Brave and Bold, made me a better Jay Garrick. All the roles kind of fed one into the other, and it was great fun.
Thank you. Great question. Come on up. We'll finish up with you, with both of you. But yeah, go for it.
Howdy. First off, love the Arrowverse, love the shows. I did not realize Arrow was a Green Arrow show until the end of the first episode. I was just like, oh, this seems a lot like Green Arrow. But two questions I had to ask were, first off, John, did you like working on the 90s Flash better, or the recent Flash, like between the two of them?
They were just so different. They were so different. The first Flash was my leap to prime time, most expensive show Warner Brothers had ever done for television up to that point. We had a third of the back lot at Warner Brothers. We were shooting in LA. I was at the center of this mammoth train that we were just trying to keep up with that whole season. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. The end of when we found out we weren't going another season, it was good news, bad news. The bad news is you're not going another season. The good news is you're not going another season. You might live 5 years longer. The new show, like I said, the kids did the heavy lifting. I loved being there and watching these very enthusiastic kids grow into owning these roles, and being able to be a part of that has been an experience I wouldn't have missed. But they're just two very different shows. The original Flash has just been released on Blu-ray. The Warner Archives did 4K up-reses of individual scenes, and I'm rewatching that series for the first time in 30 years, and I'm seeing things I've never seen before.
That's awesome.
Yeah, available at his table. Go pick
Available
up
at my
copies.
table.
Yeah, that way.
Come one, come all.
Yeah, they're very heavy. He doesn't want to fly back with them, and they're very reasonably priced. If you don't get one, I'm grabbing it. So get it before I do.
And the second line question I have for both of you:
what was your favorite season of like The Flash and Arrow that you worked on?
I've really enjoyed season 2 to 3. I really enjoyed, although, you know, I was a little surprised because when I got hired and decided I wanted to be on the show, it's because my character was going to become the Black Canary. And then all of a sudden I had a sister after we were shooting, who became the Canary first, and I was like, damn it. But I love Katie Lawrence. I welcomed her with open arms, and she actually became my roommate as well at some point.
I think you did a great job, like.
Yeah, thanks.
You wrote that character.
Yeah, yes, season 2 to 3. When that emotionally, season 2, I mean, I was crying every episode, and drugs and alcohol, and then I hit rock bottom. Like, the writers, they really, really wrote well for me, and sometimes unfortunate circumstances, but, you know, I tried not to take it personally. So yeah, season 2, 3.
Yeah, do you have a favorite season?
Like I said, the Henry Berry scenes are some of the most favorite of my career. It's just the whole experience over 34 years has been so much more than I ever anticipated, that I have to take it. I've looked at this franchise from so many different angles. I looked at Flash from both, and sorry, Jimmy, I just have to take it as a whole.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll finish it up with you. Make it a great one.
The pressure's on.
I just have a question for Katie. I'm wondering, whenever you're working on Supernatural, was it easier to work with Jared or Jensen?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now.
Neither. Both of them are just, oh my gosh, they gave me so much shit all the time. They're honestly the best. I'm sure you guys have heard some wonderful stories or met them. But yeah, they're hilarious. I mean, talk about, it's almost like they're soulmates. Like, they play brothers, and like, it's just two people who have the chemistry between them is hilarious. I mean, it's incredible. But I can't choose one. They're both just troublemakers.
Yeah, plus they're
Yeah.
Plus they're not here, but you know who is here? These two, and you should go see them all this weekend here at the con. Thank you both for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you guys so much.